The sounds you heard aren't just echoes of the Old West, they're sounds of the present. Part of the movie-making magic created here in Old Tucson. I'm Robert Shelton, president of Old Tucson Studios. Many of your favorite Western motion pictures and television shows have been photographed here. John Wayne won many a fight in this cantina. Paul Newman got a haircut here and caught a stagecoach here. Robert Mitchum spent many a night in that jail. So did Dean Martin. Clint Eastwood shot his way in and out of that courthouse. Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas buried quite a few in here. As you come through the soundstage door, you'll be following in the footsteps of Frank Sinatra, Anthony Quinn, Rick Nelson, Ava Gardner, Lee Marvin, James Arness, Johnny Cash, and Angie Dixon. MGM just used our old Mexican plaza for a military port. But that's nothing new to us. Walt Disney once built a railroad right through here. Let me show you how Old Tucson began and developed into the most important Western motion picture production center and location site in the world.
It all began in 1938 when Clarence Buddington Kellen had one of his stories published in a famous American magazine. That story was Arizona. To bring his words to life, Harry Cohen, then the head of Columbia Pictures, and director Wesley Ruggles decided to build an exact replica of Old Tucson as it was in the 1850s, 10 miles from the original location. The work began. Local work crews, working with 36 pounds of blueprints, set out to reconstruct the historical actuality of the old Pueblo right down to the last hand-hewn beam and genuine adobe brick. Pima and Papago Indians mixed the Arizona mud with straw to create 200,000 adobe bricks, the same bricks you see today at Old Tucson. They also planted more than 20,000 feet of ocotillo cactus for corral fences. Water wells were drilled through 200 feet of desert sand to create a stream, and then lakes, and even a rainstorm seen in the film. An electric power plant was also constructed. 43 cowboys came in from surrounding ranches to handle the livestock. 40 head of oxen, 300 horses, and 500 head of cattle, plus an odd assortment of goats, hogs, chickens, and dogs. Each day, the animals consumed 10 tons of feed. Now, behind the scenes were a dozen welfare workers, several interpreters, 2 teachers, 3 first aid men, and a Humane Society officer. From Hollywood came a crew of 75 with the stars of the film, Jean Arthur, and a young, promising actor whose name was William Holden. I wonder whatever happened to him. Now, to populate the streets of Old Tucson, 300 local townspeople were hired as extras.
Yeah, that was good work, Muncie.
Well, thanks, Bart. We're all ready to start celebrating as soon as you set the date for that wedding. Now, you can pick your own date, just so it's no later than tomorrow, right?
Yeah, well, let's get moving.
You can give the bride away, Saul, and Bart, you can hold me up. I sure hope there'll be no shooting match to spoil this.
Where are you going?
After Carteret. Now's as good a time to settle as any.
Wait! Your errand isn't finished till you get these cattle onto that ranch. That comes first.
Listen, Phoebe.
We'll take care of personal matters later. Let's finish what we're doing.
Man can't even take his own time to go skunk hunting.
The motion picture Arizona was a daring and expensive $2.5 million gamble, considering that in 1939, if you were broke, the gamble paid off. Arizona was a box office hit and was to set a new standard of real all Western movies. And then it was all over. The stars departed along with their director and his army of technicians. The Wranglers went back to their ranches, the Indians to their reservations, and the local citizens to their homes in Tucson. And Old Tucson became a mid-20th century ghost town with ghosts that once had flickered across a movie screen. In 1959, Robert Shelton came upon what was left of Old Tucson. He saw the possibility of restoring and expanding Old Tucson as an authentic Western location site to serve the growing needs of the motion picture and television industries.
Just 6 months after we began the restoration, we were into our first feature production, Deadly Companions, starring Maureen O'Hara and Brian Keith, directed by Sam Peckinpah.
That first film was like a gunshot that started a stampede of movie making, which continues to this day at Old Tucson. This is due not only to the natural desert beauty, but unlike the typical Hollywood sets, which are only fronts of buildings, here, complete buildings enable the filmmaker to shoot inside as well as outside. But the big movie screen was not the only place you could see Old Tucson. Television brought it into tens of millions of homes. And some of our most famous and long-running television series, plus documentaries, television specials, and commercials, were produced on this location. It has also been my privilege to have worked and been associated with Old Tucson from the very beginning. Practically all of the great stars have created unforgettable movie moments here.
people with you. Let's stop them.
They burn that barn they call a church.
No! Stop it!
The force of violence and hatred. And the raw courage of a man forced to gun down what he couldn't live down. Heaven with a gun.
Yes, there'll never be another like Rio Bravo, with its thundering story of raw courage against overwhelming odds, and its once-in-a-lifetime combination of today's hottest star names. You've seen nothing like them together, and here at Rio Bravo, nothing can tear them apart.
Not even a thank you do I get.
Maybe you're right, Stumpy.
Huh?
You're a treasure.
Well,
I don't know what I'd do without you.
well,
Tired, aren't you, John T? And fix you a nice hot bath.
All I want is a drink.
Then, this is all I can do for you?
I told him you were one of the best.
I'll tell you what I'm a lot better at, Mr. Wheeler. That's minding my own business. No offense, Sheriff.
Where are you going?
get your hands off.
I said, where are you going?
You got no use for a man you can't depend on. One bad night and I'm done for.
Better go easy on that stuff. That makes 3 you have.
Yep. You'd be lying, because that's what I am, a soft-headed idiot. There isn't any other explanation for staying around here and inviting myself into this.
Round the bend, she'll be waiting for my rifle, pony, and me.
What could possibly go wrong?
Somebody better get the sheriff.
Can't. That was them.
Hey, Sonny, I wouldn't water my jackass out there if I were you.
You own this stream, mister?
Nope.
All the same to you, I'll water him any damn where I please.
Your ass.
From hot lead to hot water, Billy better learn fast or die young.
I can't go like this.
We'll get you some clothes when we get there.
You figure I'll have much use for him?
Well, I never.
No, ma'am, I don't guess you have.
Oh, you had no call to lay me out like that.
You got a thick skull. Better I put a dent in it than the next one comes along and blows it clear off. Let me see you walk out that front door. Go on, walk.
Young Billy Young better grow up or get gunned down.
It all happened back around 1882 at a place called Yerkes Hole. It was a job too big for the sheriff to handle.
Well, I'll be. They got the whole army looking for me.
It's a holdup! It's Genghis McGee!
What'd you do with that chest of money?
A riotous legend of an outlaw who had several drawbacks.
Wake up, little darling. Hot damn!
Every time I take my pants off, you come at me with a gun.
Sergeant! Yes, sir. Circle the wagons. We ain't got enough, sir. Well, make a half moon. Yes, sir.
Shall I shoot him in the back when he passes?
No, I want this to be a fair fight. I'll shoot him in the back. Genghis McGee!
You're not King Goose.
It's the rowdiest, raunchiest, raciest Western of them all.
How far you think she'll chase us? How far do you think?
Old Tucson Studios offer the filmmaker the giant soundstage, 13,000 square feet of fully air-conditioned work area, providing the most modern facilities and equipment as found in Hollywood. Old Tucson Studios' constant emphasis on the authentic is reflected in many ways, such as its huge collection of overland transportation, which was so important to the early West. The wardrobe department, which contains the world's largest collection of Western costumes to outfit a gang of outlaws, a Mexican village, a tribe of Indians, and a wagon train of pioneers. And special effects? Well, nothing's impossible here in Old Tucson.
Today, as you walk these western streets, in and among the old adobe and wood buildings, let your imagination roam, for it is imagination that created this make-believe town, Old Tucson.